ECOWAS readiness to deploy military to Niger have become a laughing stock. Where Tinubu keep promising and non-promising that we deploy military. You know, if the world is actually fed up and become to think that Nigeria is a puppy and Nigeria is a joke, he knows Nigerian military is only active in a place of Biafra where they can go and shoot unarmed Biafran people, or maybe they will be running around governors to be a security guide. Nigerian army have lost this test. Even likewise ECOWAS because of corruption that fell on the country. You know, in the other side, let's talk about a good thing anyway. So this lady who have been advocating for Africans to be, you know, recognized and Africans to stand out in the world, Africans to be able to make decisions when other decisions are being made according to other ways, have come out to spoke out. She spoke eloquently about what she thinks that would be the case to settle the waving that is going on here. We know that America is actually enforcing the Nigerian government and say, you say you want to go and strike them, let's see, go and strike them, we support you. America is not going to give their soldier. They want Nigerian soldiers to go and do the whole thing. But now, you know what? Nigerian soldiers cannot do. They cannot fight because Nigerian soldiers actually, most of the armies that you know that operate the armored and those that operate very sensitive machineries are resigning because Nigeria have infiltrated themselves with Nigerians, which they use to fight Biafrans. They recruit a lot of Boko Haram from Niger in order to fight the Biafran people. So today those people are resigning and say no, we are not going to fight our people because they are not really Nigerians, and we know that Nigeria is just a merry joke. No people that can openly and publicly say that they are Nigerian because we have here outside Yoruba and Igbo totally different. When even these ECOWAS things that you are saying, you see Igbos are going their way that way and Yorubas are going. The only people that are standing in this thing is just northern people and whoever that they selected as the president there. But anyway, saying this, you know, we can listen to this lady what she thinks that will be the way forward and the way that the world can make Africa to be able to integrate with them totally without all this problem of marginalization or slavery. You see, some African countries are seeking independence. They need to be granted that independence for peace to reign. And you know, in Europe, we have countries of 4 million, we have countries of 5 million, we have countries of 6 million. Why can't you grant independence on country of 70, 20 million? Why can't we do that? So in other way, we are marginalizing the Africans, and now they are rebelling against the whole thing. They don't want us. You will not blame them. And if you hear what this lady is saying, you will know that she's really making sense. Let's listen to her and see what she's saying now.
No way to have any meaningful engagement. If you take, for example, the fourth POCAC meeting that was held between China and the African heads of state, way in advance, the issues were clearly defined. The agenda was going to focus on trade. It was going to focus on aid. It was going to focus on investments. The African heads of states were engaged in the discussion, in the planning. The outcomes are clearly defined with a way forward in terms of follow-up. It was a fruitful meeting that addressed the issues that needed to be addressed between not only African countries individually with China, but also Africans collectively with China. There is no published agenda. There are no issues that have been presented to the African heads of states. Africans have not been asked to engage in terms of creating the agenda and making sure that when the African heads of states come to Washington, the outcomes, the issues to be discussed are going to be meaningful outcomes with follow-up and deliverables that are going to be beneficial to both. It remains a one-sided conversation with the United States telling the Africans the agendas and the policies. The Africans are not on the table to discuss issues pertaining to us. Wherein lies the problem.
So what this lady is saying is also what we are suffering as people that are colonized by these Western people. Like the amalgamation of Nigeria, none of Igbo elders were knowledgeable to sit down and discuss the marginalization if they want to be together with Yoruba and Hausa to build a common Nigeria. A lot of countries like this also, the Western came and joined whoever they want to join and say, this is your boundary, this is your country. Now people are beginning to realize that, hey, I'm not where this agenda is created. I'm not a puppet. I have to be told and I have to make informed decision. This is why the uprising is coming up today. You see the problem we are having in Nigeria today. Igbos, we are marginalized. Igbos, we are rounded together and put together with the Hausa and the Yoruba. Why these people are not meant to be? I believe that these people, for them to have their common nation, will build more good relationship than the hostile they are all facing today to against each other. Why should this be? This is exactly what this lady is saying, that the American, the Western, they came together and put up something and tell Africa, okay, we have put up this and this is what you have to do. Why did China tell them, hey, listen, this is what the agenda should be. What is your idea? What is your take on this? And let's take everything into account. So they bring their own idea. China bring their own idea. Every country work for the betterment of their country and their interests, not the betterment for just the Western interests alone. That is why the revolution is going on, and a lot of countries are coming up against America, France, UK, German, all the colonist countries are coming up. They say, no, we don't want to be begging. We want to be in part of the agenda and know what is going on and what is going out. We know the benefit we get and the benefit you will get too. So that it will be a common and matured relationship. This is what this lady is saying, and Africa need to rise up and do the right thing. Thank you. As you listen to her again.
They've been given an opportunity to also state their position so they can come up with an African position that can then be discussed alongside the American position. So the fact that it is a one-sided conversation, that is yet going to be another useless meeting with no outcomes. But again, I'm going to keep emphasizing the reason this is happening is because there is a disrespect for the Africans. There is a general feeling that we don't need to hear from the Africans. Their opinions do not matter. That wherein lies the problem. Why were the Africans not consulted? Why were the Africans not part of an agenda? Why was there not even an agenda like what happened during the FOCAC meeting with China? Those are some basic issues. No head of state. President Biden would not pick up and go to meet with any other leader in the world without an agenda. That simply doesn't happen.
Right.
You can engage African leaders without an agenda. Come to Washington, let me tell you what I want to do for you. Come to Washington, let me tell you what you need to do in your countries. That game is an old game.
Right.
It's not going to work anymore. To be honest with you, if I'm to speak the truth, I hope a lot of heads of states don't come, because it is an insult. It is an abuse of the African leaders. It's a disrespect of the African leaders. Where is the agenda? Please respect the African leaders. Do unto
Frankly
them
speaking,
what
this
you
lady
want
have
done
just
unto
said
you.
the whole truth of the whole matter, and it's left for Africans to wake up. The nations that are seeking independence need to their independence be granted. Nations that don't want to stay together need to have their independence. If in Europe, like I said, you have 4 million country, they have 5 or 8 million country, then what stop you granting about 20 million Africa their own nation? This is what we want, and Africa need to rise up and do the right thing. And you that listen to me, young African, you know that if people decide not to stay together, the best thing is to separate and work for a common relationship. A lot of bloodshed in Africa. This needs to stop. We need an open-minded, and we need to allow people to work on their own interests and to integrate maturely. And let's work in a matured and common relationship to build Africa better, just like we have in EU, just like we have in some developed Asia, just like we have in other developed North America. We want this to be happening in Africa. Africa have all it takes to stand and be great. Thank you.
Because you are not going to engage those leaders who are going to come to the table as equals. You go in feeling superior, you come back feeling superior. That is not an issue with the Chinese. The Chinese are coming in. The Chinese, yes, if you don't negotiate with them and they win the game, then that's your fault. But they don't come in feeling superior. They understand that Africa has something they need. So they will come to the Africans. They will come and make sure that they let the Africans know that you matter to us, that our relationship with you does matter. That you don't get that feeling with the United States.